What happens when a father, a Hollywood legend, and his son, striving to carve his own path, are forced to navigate the intense spotlight of fame? In the world of Hollywood, it's not just the films that capture attention, family relationships are often under the microscope too. For Lloyd Bridges, a name synonymous with Hollywood greatness, and his son, Beau Bridges, whose own career never quite escaped his father's shadow, their bond was tested in ways that the public never fully understood. The media often painted their relationship with broad strokes, focusing on the drama rather than the deeper complexities. Behind the headlines, there was a story of competition, expectation, and eventually, a journey towards reconciliation. What really happened between them? What drove their relationship to the breaking point? And how did they find their way back? This is the real story of Lloyd Bridges and his son, Beau, one that reveals the struggle of living up to a legacy, the emotional costs of fame, and the powerful ties of family that even Hollywood couldn't tear apart. Lloyd Bridges, a name that's etched in Hollywood history, was a true pioneer in the film industry. With a career spanning over 5 decades, he became a symbol of versatility and resilience. From his role in Sea Hunt to his appearances in numerous movies, Lloyd's career was a masterclass in acting. But as his fame grew, so did the challenges that came with it. His rise to stardom didn't just affect him, it impacted his entire family. Lloyd was a father, but his career often kept him away from home, creating a distance between him and his children. Despite his success, there was always an underlying sense of pressure to live up to the image he had built for himself. Beau Bridges, his eldest son, entered Hollywood's orbit with a desire to carve out his own identity. While he too showed promise as an actor, his early years in the industry were overshadowed by the immense legacy of his father. From the moment Beau stepped into the spotlight, the comparison to his father was inevitable. It's tough enough to be an actor in Hollywood, but imagine doing so with the constant expectation that you'll be as successful as the man who helped define the golden age of television and film. Beau tried to make a name for himself, landing roles in TV shows and movies, but the public always seemed to see him through the lens of his father's fame. This constant comparison weighed heavily on Beau, who longed to be recognized for his own talents, and not as Lloyd Bridges' son. It wasn't easy. He faced the challenge of wanting to honor his father's legacy, while also wanting to break free and prove he was his own person, capable of creating his own path in Hollywood. For Beau, it was a constant balancing act, one that wasn't always understood by the media or even by his own family. The pressure of living in a father's shadow was more than just a challenge for Beau, it became a burden. The Hollywood spotlight, which shone so brightly on Lloyd, had a way of magnifying every misstep Beau made. While many admired his acting abilities, there were always whispers of comparison. Was he as talented as his father? Could he live up to the same level of success? These questions, often posed by the public and the media, added weight to an already difficult situation. Lloyd, for his part, never seemed to fully grasp the strain his son was under. While he had his own career to focus on, there were moments when it seemed as though he expected Beau to follow in his footsteps, to take up the mantle of Hollywood greatness. It's not that Lloyd didn't love his son, he did, but the pressure to succeed, the unspoken expectations, created a gap between them. There was an undeniable tension in their relationship, one that wasn't easily addressed. As Beau struggled to find his own identity, he couldn't help but feel that his father's towering presence made it nearly impossible to break free from the expectations that came with it. Beau's struggle to escape this shadow led to more than just internal conflict. It created real friction between father and son. In interviews, Beau would sometimes touch on the challenges of living up to his father's legacy, though he often did so in a reserved manner, not wanting to appear ungrateful or disrespectful. But the strain was clear. Lloyd too faced his own struggles. At times it seemed as though he didn't fully understand the burden his fame placed on Beau, leading to moments of unspoken resentment. The media didn't help either, sensationalizing their every move, feeding into the narrative that they were at odds, when in reality, they were both just trying to find a way to coexist in the same industry, under the same public eye. As the years went by, the tension between Lloyd and Bo became harder to ignore. Their relationship wasn't just strained by the pressures of fame, it was also clouded by personal struggles, misunderstandings, and unspoken expectations. The media, always eager for a scandal, fueled rumors about their father-son feud, often twisting small incidents into major conflicts. The public didn't see the quiet moments when both men tried to come to terms with their differences, nor did they understand the weight that each carried. For Bo, the path forward wasn't just about seeking success, it was about finding peace within himself and his relationship with his father. Despite the growing tension, there were moments of genuine connection. Bo and Lloyd would occasionally share a laugh, or have private conversations where they opened up about their personal struggles. These fleeting moments showed that despite the distance, the love between father and son was still there. But as is often the case in Hollywood, the pressures of work, the glare of the spotlight, and their individual battles made it difficult for them to truly connect on a deeper level. For Lloyd, he struggled with the idea that his success might have unintentionally caused his son pain. He had spent so much of his life building a career that he never truly stopped to consider how his fame might have affected Bo. It wasn't until much later that Lloyd admitted he could have done more to support his son through the toughest parts of his journey. For Bo, it took years of personal growth and reflection to understand that his father's actions weren't always meant to harm him, but were often the result of his own pressures and insecurities. Over time, both Lloyd and Bo came to realize that their struggles were not just about career or fame, they were about understanding each other as individuals, not just as father and son. The animosity that had built up over the years began to fade as they both matured, learning to appreciate the different paths they had taken. There was no grand moment of reconciliation, no dramatic scene where everything was laid bare. Instead, their relationship slowly shifted as they both grew in their own ways, learning to see each other through a lens of mutual respect, understanding, and love. As time passed, the relationship between Lloyd and Bo Bridges took on a new, more nuanced dynamic. The years of struggle, competition, and misunderstanding began to give way to a deeper, more genuine connection. Both men had carved their own paths, Lloyd as a Hollywood icon, and Bo as a respected actor in his own right. They had come to understand that their careers, while intertwined by blood, didn't have to define their relationship. In fact, it was the realization that their bond wasn't solely about the fame they shared that allowed them to rebuild their connection. Lloyd, in his later years, started to reflect more on his role as a father. He began to understand the immense pressure Bo had been under, having spent much of his life trying to live up to a legacy that was nearly impossible to follow. He admitted that while he had always been focused on his work, he might not have always been the supportive father that Bo needed. As his career wound down, Lloyd became more vocal about his admiration for his son's talents and achievements, publicly acknowledging the pride he felt in Bo's accomplishments. For Bo, it was a long road of self-acceptance and forgiveness. After years of feeling like he was trapped in his father's shadow, he started to recognize that his own success didn't need to mirror Lloyd's to be valid. There were moments when the two worked together on projects, showing that their professional and personal worlds had come to coexist in a way that was healthy and productive. Their shared experiences in Hollywood, both as father and son, and as individual artists, allowed them to understand each other's challenges in a way that only time and maturity could provide. There was no longer any need to compete or compare, instead they learned to celebrate each other's unique journeys. Their relationship was far from perfect, but it had evolved into something much stronger, one that was based on mutual respect and understanding. Bo no longer saw himself as just the son of a Hollywood legend, and Lloyd no longer saw Bo as someone trying to outdo him. They had both found their own places in the world, and in doing so had found a way to reconnect as father and son. This wasn't the kind of reconciliation that played out in the tabloids or made headlines. It was a quiet, profound shift that took place behind closed doors, far from the eyes of the public. And in many ways, that made it even more meaningful. Looking back on their journey, it's clear that Lloyd and Beau Bridges' relationship was shaped by much more than just the pressures of Hollywood. Their story wasn't simply one of conflict and reconciliation, it was a testament to the strength of family ties and the importance of understanding one another. Despite the public's fascination with their differences, the true depth of their bond remained largely unseen. Their story, however, offers a valuable lesson about the cost of fame, the pressure of legacy, and the often overlooked importance of supporting each other as individuals. Lloyd Bridges, with his incredible career, left behind a legacy that continues to influence Hollywood today. He was a pioneer paving the way for many actors who followed, but it was Beau Bridges who showed the world that success doesn't have to be defined by living up to someone else's expectations. He carved out his own place in the industry, demonstrating that while a legacy may shape you, it doesn't have to limit you. The two of them, while they may have struggled through periods of misunderstanding and distance, ultimately found a way to respect and appreciate each other's accomplishments. Their legacy is more than just a story of father and son in Hollywood. It's a reminder that no matter how complicated family relationships may seem, they can evolve and grow stronger over time. The pressures of fame and the burden of expectations may have put a strain on their relationship, but in the end, it was their ability to look beyond those challenges and see each other as people, not just public figures, that allowed them to heal. It's easy to assume that Hollywood families are filled with glamour and perfection, but the reality is far more complicated. The Bridges family, much like so many others, struggled with the very human emotions of love, pride, and the desire for approval. But in the end, it was their shared experiences, their individual growth, and their mutual respect that allowed them to emerge stronger as a family. The story of Lloyd and Beau Bridges is one that reminds us that even the most famous families have their complexities, but with time, patience, and understanding, even the deepest rifts can be healed.